Hello everybody, this is Jerry Mateo with the Welcome back to another video. Today we have two brand new amp simulation plugins or amp sims made from our friends over at Safari Pedals. Now, Safari Pedals reached out, they sent me an NFR, no money is exchanged, and yeah, that's about it. Let's jump into the session and take a look. Okay, so I have two different screens here right now, technically three, inside of Cubase. We're inside of Cubase 14 today. And the first one is going to be the Twin Panda amp. This is quite clearly a Fender Twin. And if you look at it, it's very, very simple. You have the on and off switch for the brightness cap. You have the gain. You have treble, middle, bass, reverb, speed, and intensity for the tremolo. You have bypass, and then you have your dynamics and condenser microphones. Now, Safari Pedals, they're very good at stripping down things and making them simple, very efficient on the CPU, and they've done the same thing here. You have oversampling enabled here. You can have your blend from the wet dry. You have your output, input, your presets. That's it. This is a Fender Twin amp, and it sounds pretty good. The next one is the Silver Llama. Now, this is a little tiny amp. I believe this is another Fender amp, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know exactly which one this is. I have a friend of mine who owns one that looks like this, so I'm pretty sure it's a Fender, but this is the same thing. You have condenser, dynamic. This has a spring reverb and a slapback delay. You have gain and a tone control, which is basically going to go from dark to bright. You have your oversampling and your auto gain enabled to match the input and output gain. You have input gain and your blend control, and it's that simple. Now, plugins like this oftentimes give you the idea of this can't be that great because it's just so simple or it's so easy to use. So let's start off with the rhythm guitar. So the signal flow here is very simple. We have a Pro Q4 from FabFilter. This is getting rid of a ton of resonant frequencies from the recording. This is a DI recording done by my cousin. He just popped it into his IK Multimedia, their like iRig amp thing, which is a very good interface for guitars, but you have like impedance matching, you have like this tonal Z shift thing, and if you have that set wrong, it can cause a lot of problems. If it's set right, you can have some of the best guitar tones I've ever heard as far as DIs go. So that's what's going on here. After that, we're using the Silver Llama. I'm using a little bit of delay, a lot of reverb, and some gain pretty low, and a little bit of a brightness boost. I'm using the dynamic instead of the condenser just because I liked that kind of a mid-range honk. And let's just listen to the raw guitar tone. So right away, when I turn on Pro Q4, you hear that it really fixes a lot of resonant problems. Again, it's not the interface's fault. It's not the guitar's fault. It's a great guitar. It's like a $2,000 guitar. It's the user error. So now that we have a usable DI tone, I am going to use the Silver Llama. I'm going to resize this to make this enormous. And let's just see. We're going to turn it on. And in fact, let's save a preset. Okay, I have this saved as Jerry1. We're going to throw a new instance in, and let's just take a look. Now, one of my favorite things with these tiny little Fender amps is how realistic their distortion is. This actually reminds me of the UAD Fender, the 55 Tweed, which this actually might be a 55 Tweed now that I think about it. But listen to this. But it's also a lot less harsh, and it's also native. This thing is an amazing amp, but it is locked to hardware, whereas this, you have no hardware lock whatsoever. Now you're thinking, well, the other one was brighter. Well, use the tone knob. It sounds really good. Let's use the dynamic mic. I really dig it. I think it sounds good. I'm going to load up my preset again just to see what the differences could be. Pretty simple. I kind of did a similar thing. I went for the dynamic. I have some slapback, some reverb, really low gain, but I really like it. Let's add that auto gain again. But Safari Pedals normally makes these very wonky kind of UIs, which I actually really like. As an ex-guitar player, I love something that looks like a guitar pedal. But this is a beautiful interface. And that auto gain, I don't know what it's doing, but it's keeping it very consistent. That's it. I think that sounds amazing. I'm not even going to add an EQ after. I think that sounds perfect. The next one is going to be the lead guitar, which is using the Panda. And this is a similar thing. I have an EQ, getting rid of some resonances, and then I have the twin Panda. So let us bypass both processes. It's just thinning it out. And this, I'm actually doing this to make it sound a little harsher. And that's because this is a lead. We're obviously hearing that this was recorded with a distortion pedal, a stomp pedal. So I went for the Twin Panda. We're going to save this to nice little presets. And let us just start a new instance of the Twin Panda. Okay, so this is the brand new instance. Let us take a quick listen to how it sounds. And you'll notice that the 441, let's say MD 441 right there, it's actually a really nice microphone. It's just really mid-range honky, right? It's very, very mid-rangey. Whereas this is probably a U87 or a U47, but it's pretty cool. And the reverbs sound amazing. I really do like the reverbs. So if we actually go to a more active part, like right here, and we bypass, it's just really doing a great job of being an amp sim, to be honest. It's doing a pretty wonderful job. Now, if we grab both of these and we just look at them though, they have very nice UIs. It's very simple. They're light on the CPU. But one thing that I think really makes them stand out is just the quality, right? These sound very, very good. So that's enough of listening to them in solo. Let's just go into it. So we have a section right here. I'll just go right where the solo starts off. So maybe like right here.
Be honest with yourself. Did you give it all you had? Are you waiting for your next time to make a mark on the plan? It's just me, myself, and Mary Jane. That's the way I like it. But I like it other ways too. I like to roll too much for me so I can share it with you. Have us coughing up our lungs like a terrible flu. It's just me, myself, and Mary Jane. That's the way I like it. But I like it other ways too. I like to roll too much for me so I can share it with you. Have us coughing up our lungs like a terrible flu. and all I care about's a valid.
So right there in the middle of it, I kind of turned one off, then the other off. They turn yellow when they turn off. It's a pretty good tone. I actually really like it. I personally have been using these really expensive amp sims lately, or it's like $200 almost per amp. This is really good. The Silver Llama, oh, I love the mid-range tone, and then the way that it responds to your dynamics. Like when you play kind of like naturally compressed, because I know Steve, the guitar player for this, he doesn't use a compressor, so everything is very much his performance on his picking. It responds to it very well. The Twin, it's a Fender Twin. I mean, my cousin has like 5 of them. I've used like 1,000,000 of them, and I've owned like 4 of them. It sounds like a Fender Twin. Now, I think the only thing that I would actually want there to be added would be the ability to bypass the microphones or the cabinet section completely. Just like a little thing right here, like instead of like enable, disable for oversampling, just like a condenser dynamic bypass for both of them, because I like to use my own IRs. I use like Miko 2, and I'm probably going to buy the new Miko Reflex. And I'd love to see what type of tones I can create using third-party IRs. I'll have a link down below. Again, no money. I'm not making any money off of this. They just sent me the NFRs, asked me if I could take a look. I decided I will, and I really like them. So that's it for this video. This is Jeremy with I will see you guys later. Bye.